Speedrun breakdown number 3, it is Sword and Shield time, and this is the run that pretty much sets the tone for most of the upcoming runs that I will be reviewing in this series, because the strat that I'm using with Sword and Shield against Tigrex can be replicated with most of the melee weapons. And you might be asking, but Brig, how are you gonna replicate Sword and Shield strategies with like lance or gun lance? Well, you can, and I'm gonna explain how exactly it works as we watch the run. I will also preface this by saying this is not my fastest run as of today. I have experimented with different combos, like optimized the damage output per opening, and I think I've come up with a better one, but I've only improved this by like 2 or 3 seconds, so maybe I will redo this run if I get like a really clean one, and I'll upload that. But yeah, for the time being, I'm just gonna be reviewing this run, because it's like good enough. It's actually really clean. Actually, let's go back to the beginning and start the run. I just noticed you can actually like see the second screen right there on the right that I've tried to edit out. It is what it is. This opener is super nice. This is like the most damage you can do there. Like if you do normal attacks, like X attacks, he will still just raise his head too fast for you to get a third hit in, so this is like the most damage you can do. And because of that, I can just do a normal combo here. 5 hits. And that's a stagger before you can do anything else. And this is just gonna be an enrage. Like you can get unlucky there if he goes for like a double bite or something, or some other Pepega attack. You will miss some hits and you just have to reset, but it didn't happen here. It doesn't happen most of the time, so it's not a big deal. Here he's enraged, takes 3 more hits to stagger him again, so everything up until now is just scripted. And this is sort of where you can start seeing the approach for this run. So he staggers, I do 4 attacks. And then... okay, this is evasion +1 to be fair, but it still just looks so sexy. Just back up iframing the roar. And that's just a stagger. So that's 4 more hits during the stagger. And now I have an opening because he's gonna do a head turn. I can do 3 to 4 attacks, and guess what's gonna happen? That's right, he's gonna stagger. And guess what's gonna happen now? Okay, that's a para, so it kind of like interrupts the approach. But that's pretty much how you approach this matchup with a lot of the melee weapons. Is you do a couple of attacks during a head turn or like a bigger opening. He staggers, and then you do like a couple more attacks while he's staggered before he can attack you again. And then you just rinse and repeat pretty much. Like you just build up to the next stagger, like you do enough damage during a stagger so that a few more hits will stagger him again, and then you just get pretty much 1 stagger's worth of damage per opening. And that is also why a lot of my runs are very close to each other in terms of clear time. Like this Sword and Shield run, the Gun Lance run, and the Lance run are within like 10 seconds of each other, because it's really just RNG at that point. Because all of these weapons, dual blades too, but dual blades also has like you need to use Mega Dash juice, which takes like a couple seconds at the start, and you have to actually do like gauge management. So that's why the dual blades run is a little slower. But for the most part, it's pretty much just all of these weapons get the same amount of damage per opening, pretty much. And the ones that have an advantage are the ones like Sword and Shield and Encyclave that can actually use para and still do enough damage to stagger him once per opening. Some of the weapons don't have that luxury, but Sword and Shield, apparently, like, it's a weak weapon in this game, but it has just enough damage to make it work. Yeah, and here it's like, I didn't really, like, keep track of the stagger threshold while he was paralyzed. I should, like, try to practice that more to keep track of that. I didn't really do it here, so I'm not entirely sure how many hits it's gonna take to stagger him again here. So I just... yeah, okay. So now he's just in the loop again. I do 4 attacks. And with Sword and Shield it's a little inconsistent because it depends on how many crits you're getting. If you get 0 crits, like I think 0 or 1, I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I've done this. But if you get unlucky with the crits, it takes 4 attacks to stagger him. If you get at least 1 or 2 crits, it takes 3. So you sort of have to pay attention to how many crits you're getting per opening, because if you don't do that, you can like overshoot your damage and then you just do like 1 extra attack and whiff because you stagger from the previous hit, and then you don't have enough time to do your 4 attacks during the stagger. So that can sort of throw you off and break the chain. It's the same with Lance too, like I'm getting ahead of myself, but with Lance it's also the same thing. Like you need, I think if you get 2 crits, it takes like 5 pokes to stagger him, or 4. Like if you get a certain amount of crits, it takes 1 less poke, which makes Lance also like a bit less consistent, and you have to like pay attention to how many crits you're getting, and like, yeah. But again, that's gonna be for a future video. Yeah, there's not really much to say here. I'm just doing like standard opening punishes. And I think my sharpness is about to drop here. Yeah, it's just, he's giving me like pretty good moves. Like the jump back earlier was sort of unlucky. Like you do not want him to jump back unless he's facing, or not facing a wall, like doing the opposite. When he's with his back against the wall, then you do want him to jump back because that's just free damage. But when there's like a lot of space behind him, you don't really want that, because then it's just, you just wait for the next attack and it wastes a lot of time. But yeah, it is what it is. Spin is lucky. It's like, I think it's the second spin that he gave me, so that's nice. Roar is also really nice. That's another back hop iframe. And yeah, my sharpness dropped here, so now it will always take 4 hits for a stagger, even if I get a good amount of crits, because my damage up is lower. And I think I get a para here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was like close to enraging, so that's pretty unlucky. Would have taken like 1 or 2 more hits to enrage him. Like it would have been perfect if I got the enrage into a para from the next hit, so I would like cancel. Okay, that is super nice here, that I get the stagger there with the round slash. Again, I was not keeping up with the stagger threshold here, but I knew that I could only get 1 more hit in, so I went for the round slash for the maximum damage, and it staggered him, and it looked really nice. And I forgot what I was trying to say earlier, so I'm just gonna keep going. I think that's the first charge, outside of like the jump into the charge, so it's also pretty nice. Yeah, he kind of, yeah, he, hold on, he broke out of the chain there. I think it was after the roar. Like after the enrage. Oh, I did 3 attacks there. Why did I do 3 attacks there? That's stupid. Okay, I don't know why I did that there, but yeah, like, if I remember this correctly, the end of this run is not very clean because he breaks out of the chain quite a lot. Because it was such a clean run until up until now. Can't talk anymore, man. Like the first half of the run, or it's like 2/3 in now. But yeah, it was like a pretty clean run until now. And I got the second para like early, like it's not even guaranteed to get 2 paras. So I was like kind of nervous, I think, and I just like choked a couple times and played it safely if I really didn't need to. Like the reason why I'm playing evasion +1 is because you can iframe every attack head on as it happens. Like if you don't have evasion +1, you need to roll to the side, like to the right, before he does his next attack. With evasion +1, you can sort of greed. It's not really greed when you know you can dodge every incoming attack, but you can get 1 more hit in, and then just play more reactively, right? Like you just dodge as he attacks, and you don't have to like position before the attack, and it just allows you to do more damage and actually pull the strategy off. So I don't know why I didn't do that here at the end of this run. It's gonna happen like 1 or 2 more times here too. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay, here I do it again. No spin. It's very lucky. Okay, now I do 4 again. So I don't know why I did 3 there. That was not very smart. Okay, I'm a little far away here, but it's alright. I can still do those 4 attacks. Okay, I don't remember that happening. That is interesting. So apparently that is actually a stronger combo if you do the forward jump attack into X attacks, because it took 7 attacks here to stagger him with that combo at white sharpness. Yeah, I forgot about that. That is interesting. I don't know the motion values from the top of my head, but I guess that works, man. But it's also hard to pull off because, like, usually you're just in a position when you're next to him where you can perfectly land your attacks, so you would have to, like, disengage a bit further. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe, like, not a thing you can consistently pull off. But it's still interesting. Yeah, there we go, like, this is why you run evasion +1. You can also iframe the charge head on with no evasion. I've done it a couple times, but it requires you to be like in like the perfect position to pull it off, because the charge doesn't have a hitbox at the very start of the animation, unlike most of the other charges. So if you like, right where I am now, like if there wasn't a wall here and I was in this position and he charged forward, I might be able to iframe it from here, because I could just roll through his back leg and get out of the hitbox. Because, like, when he starts charging from this position, the hitbox starts when his torso is, like, right above me. Like, that's how much distance he has to close before the charge even starts having a hitbox. And at that point, I can just roll through the leg and dodge the hitbox. But it's, like, actually, like, frame perfect timing. Like, it's really hard to pull off and not consistent at all. So you do want evasion +1. Because he will charge, let's be honest, it's a Tigrex. Not as often as a Raytheon or a Teostra, but he will charge. And this is unlucky, I can spoil this, he is one hit away from dying and he's wasting a bunch of time here. It could have been a sub 120 if it didn't do that, yeah, literally one more hit. So that is annoying. It could have been like a 317 or something like that. Like it took like 5 or 6 seconds there for him to do that jump back into the jump. But yeah, could have been faster, but it's still like a clean run with like a few mistakes here and there. But it's not a big deal. I would still say this is a good run. And yeah, I'm just gonna let it play to the part where it shows the set. Yeah, so this is the set that I'm using for most weapons against Tigrex. It's pretty much just DPS skills and evasion +1, like Razor Sharp, Hone Blade, just like meta skills, Wax, Challenger, Crit Eye. Nothing really special. And hold on. Let me show the relic. Yeah. So this is just like max stat para, sword and shield. And max charm. So yeah, this is the Tigrex sword and shield video. And I don't really have much to say here, except that I'm looking forward to reviewing the next videos that are also using the strategy. Because I don't know if I'm gonna have much to comment on in those ones, but it's still gonna be interesting to view this approach being applied with different weapons. And I'm also looking forward to the weapons that don't use the strategy, which I think at this point is only Charge Blade and Switch Axe. Switch Axe also uses it to some extent, and I guess Hunting Horn. Dude, Hunting Horn is like, oh my god, bro. I will not be redoing that run. That is, nah, man. That is crazy. That is crazy how I did that to myself. Twice, by the way. I did it in GU too. But in GU it's not quite as Pepega because you have absolute readiness. But it's pretty much the most gambling weapon you can fight Tigrex with. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm like yapping about Lance and Hunting Horn in the Sword and Shield video. So before I start yapping even more about things that I'm going to be yapping about in future videos, I'm just going to end it right here and wish you all... I'm recording this on the 23rd of December, so I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas. I don't know if I'm going to be uploading this during or before Christmas or whenever. Maybe I'm going to upload it tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just going to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And gonna end it with those words. See ya, men.